Morning, all of you, and I welcome all of you. Today, in the series of webinar organized under National Agriculture Higher Education Project Institutional Development Program, we are conducting series of webinar under this program. And today with us, Mr. Anand Shukla, Director, Reef Valley Foodex Private Limited, is available among us. Very shortly, he is going to deliver lecture on online management in fisheries production to marketing export. This lecture will be rather than PowerPoint presentation. Sir said he will interact with student, will share the knowledge what industry expect from student. So it will be a moreover. Rather than having, you can say, presentation, it will be a interaction type of webinar, you can say. Sir, give me 1 minute. You just want to do something?
No, it's okay. Fine. Great.
Yeah. So, sir, you have more than 30 years of hands-on experience in handling seafood internationally, and at present you are Director, Reef Valley Foodex Private Limited. Mr. Anand Shukla is a graduate from College of Fisheries, Pantnagar, and he did his MBA from Association of Professional Engineers, Scientists and Managers, Deccan University, Australia. He completed his MBA with 100% FICCI scholarship. Sir started his career as fish technologist, worked for decade with Tata's at various responsible positions in export and agrochemical sector. Sir, you have saw sea of opportunity in production, market development, and later on established Fish Mart, which is again an international seafood marketing firm with the ethics of Tata and work culture and professional experience. Side by side, without forgetting about updating himself, he pursued courses in luxury management and retail marketing management with partial scholarship from global luxury conglomerate LVMH and Coca-Cola. Riding on the success wave, in 2014, sir, you have registered Reef Valley Foodex Private Limited with a long-term vision to contribute best in providing healthy luxury food at affordable price to entire community globally, a must for healthy society. Sir, you are also member of editorial board of one of the prestigious renowned research journal, that is Pantnagar Journal of Research. If I say about his company, that Reef Valley Foodex Private Limited is a profit-making seafood export marketing company which is based at, you can say, hub of the seafood industry, that is Verawal, Gujarat. And you can say motto or mission of the Reef Valley is that strive to innovate superior food products and services by devoting our talent in order to improve health of society at large worldwide. With these words, means these are a few achievements. I can say achievements are much more. With these words, now I formally invite Mr. Anand Shukla, Director, Foodex Private Limited, Reef Valley Foodex Private Limited, for sharing his experience, knowledge in this field, and whatever means to interact with the students. Sir, it is over to you. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ajit. You have said a lot about me. I think it is too much than what I what I deserve. You have. So basically, Sat Shri Akal, good morning, Suprabhat to all my dear friends. young Turks, and basically I have got a lot of love for Punjab and of course for Gujarat. Punjab being a developer in our means entire agri sector. They have a great contribution in the development of means this green revolution and development of the world, agriculture and whatever, in all the sectors actually they do. So it's really nice to talk to you. It's a great opportunity, and I will say rather 2020 is the best teacher. Of course, it has given a lot of troubles, but 2020 is the best teacher uh, who has brought us together. Otherwise, it would have may not have been possible to meet you. But it is 2020 which brought us together. And it's a great initiative taken by Dr. Ajay Singh, Honorable VC of the university, Dr. Guman, Dr. Ansal, Dr. Ajit Singh, Dr. Reddy, Ms. Amandeep, and the whole team. They have done really good job, not only by taking initiative, but conducting and putting efforts, communicating with everybody and bringing everybody under the umbrella. So it is an excellent approach, I will say. Further, I will say that they have brought people like Dr. Upadhyay, one day 35 years before, who taught us. So great people are able to share their experiences with you, and you are lucky guys. We never had such a luxury with us, honestly speaking. So that's it. Furthermore, this Dr. Ajit, Dr. Abhed Pandey, and so on. Several of my friends are already with you, who has brought this Pantnagar culture with you, Pantnagar culture to you, and again you are lucky for that, having them. Moreover, I have a special love for fishery. Of course, once upon a time in 1986,
Yes.
I joined just as a part of, you can say, research, that let's do something. I was basically fond of medical, and I wanted to do MBBS, MD. But because of poor physics, I couldn't make it. And then I thought to try in Pantnagar University. I got 5th rank, and I was able to select anything starting from veterinary, fisheries, forestry, agriculture, and home science. And then I found that fisheries is new. Veterinary, of course, it is there, established, everything fine. But that time, private opportunities were rare. So I thought getting a job might be difficult in veterinary. Let's try our luck in fisheries. And so I selected fisheries purposely. Everybody that time used to ask, what is this BFSC? For explaining that BFSC, we have to say 3 times. BSFC, or somebody used to say something. So BFSC means a totally different thing. Furthermore, then everybody, I have to explain that what is this means, what we are able to do with that later. Everybody used to demotivate, but we were just carrying on. And it was all, the credit goes to Dr. C.S. Singh, who established, whose brainchild was that in that Pantnagar University. And he put all out effort in establishing that college, although it was not recognized then by ICAR, and we were suffering like anything in so many aspects. But he put all out efforts and given us lot of love, affection, knowledge, administration, key points, and so many things. So that is how the whole journey started. After explaining BFSC inside, outside we need to explain where is Pantnagar. Because with regard to fishery, it was new. With regard to agriculture, it was fine. It was renowned. But when you used to say fishery, what is Pantnagar? So from there we started a journey, and then there was a question how to get the job. Luckily, we had a 60 days field tour, which used to start from Calcutta and used to end at Mumbai, covering entire coast. So we used to see lot of professionals, institutions, organizations, and it boosted our morale. Moreover, we understood that how the industry is. So that was how we entered into the industry. Then the question was to get the job. Anyhow, we managed to break the ice in Gujarat. And that's how I reached in Gujarat in 1990 after completing this fishery. And thereafter, never looking back, the journey continued. And today, I have no regrets whether I became MBBS or not. I am more than happy to be whatever I am. And I am really lucky. I am finding myself really lucky to do Bachelor of Fishery Science, this course. So first of all, congratulations everybody for choosing fishery and carrying on this journey. Just in order to congratulate you, just in order to appreciate your selection, I told this entire history. That was the point of telling you that first of all, whatever you chosen, you have done a nice job. Your selection is next to, means more than perfect. And you should be proud of selecting fisheries. It is no way lesser than any other course, whichsoever available in India or abroad. Furthermore, this course is the only course, I will say, which gives us global exposure. Thousands of agri graduates are veterinary graduates, engineers, or medical people are there. Of course, they have done very well in domestic or Indian thing, but the exposure, what we are able to get internationally or globally, that is not available to them. Even if it is available, it is limited. Maybe 1 country, 2 country, 10 country, but for us, entire world is open. So again, that is an advantage to us. Now, coming to the thing what I have been told to speak on, that is production to marketing and exports. Regarding production, I will say here that production is limited to 2 things. One is fisherman who simply goes and catches the fish either in the ocean or rivers, backwaters, reservoirs, and so on. That is one, that is ready-made thing. So hardly any contribution is there, our contribution is there in production. The other is aquaculture part, where of course it means we are really performing well. Of course, it has started long back, I will say rather 30, 40 years back. But now, internationally, we are performing really well in aquaculture sector. So aquaculture is of various kinds. You will be better aware than me because I have left that part in 90. So I am involved, but side by side only, not directly. So that is production, basically, aquaculture and fishing. Basically, I mean, what production Dr. Ajit may be interested in, that is processing. So processing here, once the catch comes, either in small quantities, whatever comes, it goes to directly to the wholesaler, to the domestic market and all. But whatever comes in volumes, maybe from aquaculture or from sea cod, ocean cod, that is getting processed. And for processing, there are several ways, but the main thing is freezing. Still, the main thing is freezing only. Whether we can talk of drying, salting, and so on, smoking, but those are not even 1% canning and all, those are not even 1% of the freezing. The reason being that in freezing, the texture of the product or the taste of the product gets affected minimum. Whereas in smoking or canning or drying or salting, the taste gets affected totally and permanently. Freezing also affects the taste, but it affects very minimum, very minimum. And that is a necessary evil, because otherwise the product is going to die in no time. So die means, I mean, spoil. So we are forced to preserve it, and the best part is freezing. In fishery, basically, wherever we are, whether we are in aquaculture or in processing or in marketing, two key points are there, which we used to remember always. That is cleaning and cooling. Cleaning and cooling, these are the two key points. Once fish is out of water, this should be implemented immediately, wherever you are, whatever position you are at. But these are the two key points. If one takes care of, he is going to have the best fish. If not taken seriously, the problems are going to happen again and again at all the stages, whatever you do. Like we are getting sick, means one problem or the other problem is going to follow. So if we are, I am more than sure that if we are taking care of cleaning and cooling, rest of the things are immaterial. So whether you are, whatever way you are preserving or even keeping in your freezer as a consumer, you must take care of cleaning and you must take care of cooling. So that is it. Now, with regard to freezing, what happens once the catch comes? Now the question is that who catches? Catches, one is fisherman, other is culturist, aquaculture guy. Aquaculture guy start fishing once they are getting an order from factory, means they secure the order in factory, or they fix that whatever daily their requirement is there, accordingly they are fishing and taking it out. In case of this ocean catch or reservoir catch, there are variety fishing available. One is that gill net fishing, that small guys, small boats are doing that for their daily survival. Then there is trawl fishing. Trawl fishing is the mostly used fishing nowadays, in which most of the variety are getting caught. Then there is a purse seine fishing, which is being used for pelagic fishes like Indian mackerel, sardine, etc. But bad luck is that nowadays, from last 3-4 years or 5 years, the catch of mackerel and sardine gone down drastically. And so I personally don't feel that now purse seiners have much role to play. There is no catch at all as far as Indian mackerel and sardines are concerned, particularly coming from Karnataka and Maharashtra. They are totally silent from last 2-3 years. That's my personal experience and what I have observed. Now whole thing comes now on trawling. In trawling, there are 2 types of trawlers. One are small trawlers who are going for daily fishing, starting early morning and coming every evening back. So these are small people, can't afford much. So they are just going for a small sort of fishing, bringing some catch, making some money, again going next day. But then there are capable people, maybe having 2 trawlers or 20 trawlers, who do fishing in a professional way. They are having good kind of trawlers, costing around 40-50 lakhs or more, and each trawler, and they are going for fishing with all prepared, with lot of ice and diesel and everything. Means their entire cost goes to around 3 to 5 lakhs just for a fishing. And their fishing lasts for almost 20-25 days. They are having cold storage inside there to store the fish, whatever they are getting. And as I already told, they have got lot of ice with them, lot of diesel with them. So we will not believe that Gujarat fishermen might be fishing in Karnataka waters. They can go any long wherever they are getting fish. And they are bringing variety fish, quantity fish, and then only the fishing is feasible and the industry is surviving. Now, the thing is, I told there are several operators. So there are the people who are having 1 trawler, there are the people who are having 2 trawlers, 20 trawlers, 30 trawlers, maybe whatever. So what happens? The small people, they are having, of course, less resources.
Hmm. Amit,
Small operators have less resources. So naturally, they are taking some advances, of course, from the middlemen or from the factory to have to get the diesel, to have their necessary other requirements. And naturally, they are giving material or their catch to those people from whom they are taking advance or necessary money for their daily activities. So they are one way binded. Whereas the people who are having 3, 4 trawlers or more than that, they are free birds. And they are having more resources with them, more capacity, more capable. So they are the people who who know the fishing well. Nowadays, previously there was problem because they were not able to communicate to the trawler. Now they are able to communicate because of new this technology. They are always, even though the fish, that trawler is away from them for 20-25 days, but from day 1 to day 25, they are always aware that what catch is coming, in which waters to move, because they communicate to other trawlers as well, to other friends as well. So when they feel that our trawler is getting less material, they direct them to move to certain waters so that they can have better catch. So they are able to manipulate the catch favorably. And secondly, they are aware that what is coming. And thirdly, they are having sufficient time in their hand, that is almost 15 to 20 days, to design that where they should put the catch. When I joined here, these 20 days fishing was just 3 days fishing. So the trawlers used to go and come. So there was plenty of material. And they were finding difficulty in managing that because so many times factories used to get flooded with the material and they were not able to manage. But nowadays the things are not so. Even though the trawlers have increased, the fishing capacity has increased, the factories has also number of factories, the freezing capacity also have increased in multiples. But still the managing the catch is not an issue because they are getting sufficient breathing space to manage the things. That is 20 days almost. So during that period, they approach the factories. They are having a lot of free time. They approach the factories and they are able to know that which factory is able to get better price to them and able to take their material, quick money, and various other facilities. So now the channel is very small. The trawler owner, fishing is done by professional fishermen. No trawler owner most of the time is doing fishing except that daily wages one. These are professionals coming from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, or South Gujarat. They are all teams who do fishing on behalf of these professional trawler owners. And this guy is purely a businessman, mostly from the fisherman community, who manages the catch. Once the catch approaches the shore, as he already finalized with the factory, his rickshaw or his vehicle or factory vehicle takes the product to the factory after sorting. Means factory needs a particular size or variety. So the catch is getting sorted at the shore where they are having proper shades, ice, water, and whatever facilities. They are having all sort of facilities, even stores out there. They take the catch there out, sort it out, and then based on the factory demand, which factory they have to take what product, they take it out there. Then certain products are there, either due to high domestic demand, which fetches more price in domestic demand than even in exports. Like, for example, kingfish or catfish. Catfish goes to Punjab and export is not able to fight with them, particularly during this winter season. So, such products which are favorable means favorable for the domestic market, particularly kingfish, seafish, black pomfret, catfish, maybe sometimes uh, this emperor, red snappers, those fishes are mostly taken from those places to the domestic traders who are just 1 kilometer away or 2 kilometers away from the place. And that is entire market. Different traders are there who are daily sending the trucks to various markets. So all that type kind of fishes and catch goes to that market. From there, it goes to places like Ahmedabad, Surat, Bombay, or Delhi, Jaipur, whatever. It starts daily in the evening, and depending on the distance, next day morning or next day evening, it reaches to the destination. It goes by trucks or by railway in the thermocol boxes, properly packed in ice, in the chilled form. Because as I told in the beginning, that freezing also affects the texture. Of course, limited. It's a necessary evil, but it affects. So it is always wise to make the fish reach without doing anything, only in the chilled form, or even better in the live form. Of course, that live works in case of not in sea caught, but in reservoir case or in river case or in aquaculture cases. So live is the preferred one. Nothing is there like live fish, which even fetches double the price of the dead one. But chilled is the second part when you have a lot of transportation. But in chilled thing, the fish must be consumed within 2 or 3 days. Finally, not more than that. But if we have to go for more than 3 days, there is no option, best option other than freezing. So with regard to exports, freezing is the best part, which is being followed. Some fishes are preferred in dried form or in smoked form or in canned form. Canned fishes are mostly used in military sectors or such sectors where there are lot of transportation issues, climatic issues, and all that. So entire world military,
Sir, please unmute your mic. Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
Yeah, I have done it.
Ah,
Okay, are you able to hear?
yes, yes, yes. Now it is fine.
So entire world military are such organizations which are in interior or things, they are preferring canned products. The drawback is that it changes the taste of the product, but there is no choice. Moreover, these are cheap also in comparison to other products, because the fishes like low value fishes like sardine, horse mackerel and all, those are the fishes which are being canned, not the high value products. Then comes the second option, that is drying. Drying part is again used either as a preference for some markets, as a luxury, or mostly in the interiors. For example, the fish caught in Gujarat has to reach to Kerala and to Assam, and Assam also in hilly terrains, interior areas, and that also to poor people. So it's not easy or feasible to freeze the product or to can the product, because canning again becomes costly, that only institutions can mostly afford that. So drying becomes the easiest option. Another thing is that in drying, the second grade and third grade product also moves. So whatever good quality, suppose for example, we take one product, ribbon fish, which is the major catch from Gujarat and Maharashtra and contributes a lot. The grade one entire product goes to China, followed by little quantities to America, Europe, Korea, and all that. The grade two product also goes to China. Whatever grade three means belly burst, skin rupture, doesn't look nice, or smaller in size, which is not used, not preferred by the world markets. That product is being dried and taken by trucks to Assam interior areas, Tamil Nadu interior areas, Kerala interior areas, and wherever the people prefer such fish. Then furthermore, whatever the byproduct remains, which is not, which cannot be consumed or preferred by the human beings, that goes for the fish meal purpose and other outlets. So as far as for human consumption is concerned, freezing is number one, canning is number two, drying is number three, and smoking and all is a luxury thing nowadays, and we can put it at number fourth. So that is the processing part. Now, with regard to processing, how processing is done, the question comes, how freezing is done. So freezing, once the material is received at the factory, whatever variety species we are interested in, once we are getting it at the factory landing center, so we wash it, we sort it out once again, check for the good product, reject whatever we don't want, and then we weigh the product, whatever is fitting into our requirement, and taking it inside. Afterwards, the factory decides in which form the product has to go. For example, ribbon fish can go in the whole form or in the dressed form, Kingfish can go in the gutted form. Corvina is a fish which goes in the fillet form. Mahi is a fish which goes in the fillet form. So the company or the factory decides what kind of orders they have. Accordingly, the factory is having several sections. One is, of course, raw material receiving section. Then they have pre-processing section. They have filleting section. They have dressing section. And then they have packing section. They have, then the turn comes of freezers. And then final packing, and then the product goes into the cold storage. And from there, it's shipped. So once we receive the product, we decided the product has to be filleted or whole. We go accordingly. Furthermore, we have the products like cuttlefish, squid, octopus, cephalopods or shrimps, which needs further processing. Like squid goes in the form of either whole or whole cleaned. Whole cleaned means you need to remove the beak, eyes, ink sac, pin bone, skin, and that product is known as whole cleaned squid, and it is ready to eat. It has no wastage. Everything can be eaten. Further, the squid can be made in the form of rings, where everything is removed and the tube is cut in the form of rings, skinless, everything. And it is also made in the form of skin on rings, where the squid is just cut into the pieces, the eyes and beak and intestine is removed, and it is packed as such. Then we are also making tentacles separately. So it is all depending on the customer requirement. So based on the customer requirement or the orders or the feasibility, where we are getting, how we are getting more profits, we are choosing what to do with the product. That is solely at the discretion of the factory how to process it based on the market requirement. So anyway, whatever we have to do, we have to go for freezing. Freezers, we have three kinds of freezers mainly used in fish processing. Outdated one is plate freezers. When we joined that time, majority used to be plate freezers. 90 minutes freezers also we used to call that. Still they are there, but they are limited to now just shrimp processing. That is also block processing of shrimps. So there we are able to process 600, 900 or 700 kg depending on the freezer capacity. Sometimes it is 600 kg, 720 kg, 900 kg, and one load takes 90 minutes to come out. The temperature remains -40 degrees. As I told, it is only fitting for the block products, block freezing products, because its name is contact plate freezer. So it is pressed from both the sides. As a result, the appearance of the product gets affected. So big size fishes or other products we are not able to freeze because it will affect the appearance of the product. The product may not look attractive after passing through plate freezers. Second thing is air blast freezer. Plate freezer we are using, I already said, -40 degree temperature. In air blast freezer, the second way, the air is blasted, as the name is, inside the blast freezer. The capacity remains 2 tons, 4 tons, 6 tons, 10 tons even. Depends on the factory capacity. If they are big, having lot of manpower, they can go for any size, even 15 tons, because it should not increase the loading and unloading time. If you are having less number of workers, you can't afford to have the bigger size of the blast freezer. If you are having so many workers, you can load quickly, unload quickly, it's fine. So there, the temperature remain around minus 30, minus 35 degree air temperature. And it takes around, depending on the quality of the blast freezer and depending on the quantity, how much you are putting, it takes 4 hours to 10 hours. Also, it depends on the variety of the fish. Which variety? If it is very thick like tuna, very fatty, heavy, then it takes time. But if it is a fish like crab or squid, it may freeze quickly, maybe in 4 hours. So the temperature is passed, the material is arranged in the tray, whether it is plate freezer or the blast freezer. The material is arranged in the trays. After the trays capacity remain around 10 kg, mostly standard. Out of that, we sometimes we make small compartments in the form of a small tray or inner carton, we call it, or pans, whatever. We are putting pans also. So these things may be 1 kg capacity, 2 kg capacity, or whatever, based on the requirement. And sometimes, like ribbon fish and crocus, we are packing in 10 kg. So of course, we are putting everything together in the 10 kg trays. The trays previously used to be SS tray, stainless steel tray. Now, from almost 25 years or 20 years, plastic trays are used almost everywhere. So whatever brand may be, but you are going to find the plastic trays. These plastic trays carrying mostly 10 kg are put in the trolleys. Every trolley carries mostly 250 to 300 kg product, yani ki 25 to 30 trays in a trolley, maximum 36. And these trolleys are pushed inside the blast freezer. So before pushing the trolley, one need to pre-cool the chamber, that is tunnel or blast freezer, whatever you say, at minus 18 at least. And then we are starting pushing the trolleys inside. It is always advisable to arrange quickly and put the complete trolleys or complete load as quickly as possible. Once the blast freezer is full, the air blasting starts, as mentioned earlier, minus 25, minus 30, minus 35. And then after 4 hours or 8 hours, depending on the fish, machinery, brand, and whatever, it has been taken out. That is blast freezer. Then comes the individual quick freezing. That is the most preferred way, but having limitations. Most preferred way, but having limitations, because big fishes cannot pass through IQF. So the shrimps, squids, cuttlefish, fish fillet, small size fishes like mackerel, sardines, those are all being preferred for IQF machine. So there is a tray, there is a belt. There is a belt. We have to arrange the product on that. We need to keep on arranging the product on the belt, and that belt moves or passes inside a room kind of thing. There are spiral IQF where the belt moves in the spiral way or passes otherwise, but it passes through the chamber where the temperature remains -40, and the material freezes within few minutes. Within few minutes, the material freezes and moves out. So here, the quality of the product remains the best. And the customer worldwide market prefers such product, irrespective of whatever limitations it has. Whatever value-added products are preferred to freeze in IQF. Because if we enter into the academics, it makes the ice crystals smaller in size. As a result, those ice crystals are not breaking the cell wall, whereas bigger crystals made out of blast freezing or plate freezing break the cell wall of the product. And what happens at the time of freezing, we are not aware what is happening. We are freezing, we are happy, but when you are putting the product for thawing before consumption, then if it has blast frozen or plate frozen, then because of that big ice crystal formation, because of that wall rupture, cell wall rupture, the liquid comes out of the product. And that affects the taste, not only the taste, the quality of the fish as well. Because not only that liquid, it has nutrients, proteins, whatever. So that also comes out of the fish or the product. So that is the reason that entire world market prefers IQF machines, individual quick freezing machines. There are various renowned companies which are making, like Blue Star and all that. They are making machines. These machines in India also people are making, but the performance is not that good. The machines which are coming from Sweden and this and that, they are really good, but costly a bit. So these machines are having freezing capacity starting from 250 kg per hour to 500 kg, 750 kgs, 1 ton per hour. And they are able to work for almost 18 to 20 hours. 18 hours is optimum. So that is the thing. The cost factor, the operational factor, the species, and the operational cost of these machines remains a drawback, but still people love them. So whatever way we are freezing, these are 3 ways. Once the product is frozen, either it is coming out of blast freezer or coming out of plate freezer or coming out of IQF, we have cartons made out of cardboard, and these cartons having capacity of 10 kg, 20 kg, depending on the market demand, the product is being packed into it. Before packing into poly bags, depending on the size, for example, squids, cuttlefish, shrimps, these are packed in 1 kg, 500 grams, or whatever customer requirement in the poly bags with the brand, and then packed into the carton. Whereas the bigger fishes, 10 kg ones and all that, are directly packed into the poly bag and then into the carton. And then comes the fish like tuna, which are 20 kg, 30 kg and all that. These are packed in PP bags, polypropylene bags, not into the cartons, because that maintaining that is difficult. And these are going for further processing. So these are packed into PP bags. Why these are packed in poly bags? First, the reason is the outside temperature, outside air or temperature should not get in touch with it. If it comes into touch with it, the product may get dehydrated, discolorated, and all that. Lot of problems may come. So even sometimes we glaze the product. Glaze means putting the fish after freezing into the chilled water, ice chilled water, so that it makes a layer on the product, and that layer protects it lifetime from outside atmosphere. And then we are putting into the poly bag and then in the carton, ensuring that it should not get in touch with the outside environment. Once it is packed, we are immediately putting into the cold storage, where the temperature is maintained at -18 degrees centigrade all time, starting from -18 to -22. That is the preferred temperature. At that temperature, the product is the safest, and it can survive there for even 2 years if kept properly. And because we are into exports, we will always prefer, or otherwise as well, it will be always preferred to move it to the market as early as possible, because it blocks money, and of course, as much the delay happens, the quality also goes on down and down. So it is always advisable to go for early shipments. Early, it must reach early to the market. So that now that after completing the processing part, these are the processing ways we are taking the material to the cold storage. Once it is there in the cold storage, the marketing department side by side is keep on working. Otherwise, what products are coming, how it will go, in which direction it should be processed, in what form, and all that. That marketing department guides to the processing or production department. So marketing, whatever people may talk, are applicable to the other sectors. That is not true for the fish, because here the patterns are changing, and as we have been told earlier in our first class in history of fisheries, I still remember that there are 40,000 species, 20,000 known and 20,000 species unknown. So whatever time we pass, we are not able to understand how much depth this field or this industry is having. The depth is there like an ocean. I am there in this industry from 30 years. Still hardly, means in my time, we have been able to develop around 30-40 varieties. And so this is going to follow again and again. So market keeps on changing. What happens? Factory people don't have time for the product development. They are always behind the orders. They want ready orders because cost is involved. They want to buy the product and ship the product. But then, of course, product needs development part. So there are people like us who develop the products at their own risk. When we say product development, we have to see what are the forms of product it is getting exported or consumed in the current way. And what are, if we know the product in the proper way, we try to understand and then to make others understand that this product can go in this form as well, in an additional form as well, or to a new market, which are not aware of the product. So at our risk, we are developing those products and those markets. Based on our brand image, we are convincing our existing customers, and to new customers over a period of time that this is a product which can be a substitute to the products you are already using. This can be cheaper, having better nutrients, having better taste, and not costly and all that. So we are basically developing products and markets, and this is never ending time. So we are the people who are bringing new products to markets, and as new products are coming, which are fetching more value, giving more benefit to the whole chain, the old products move out of the chain. So this chain continues. As a result, the lifespan of the exporter or the wholesaler or the people involved is mostly not more than 20 years or 30 years maximum. Most of the people get out within 10 years. So there is no consistency. As a result, most of the people are not able to do direct business. They need people like us to run the show. And that's why there we are able to add value to the whole chain. I think time is getting over, Ajit.
Yes, sir. We have another 5 or 10 minutes. So if you can discuss about
So just I'm just closing this part in 2 minutes, and then we discuss. So marketing, basically what people talk, there should not be middlemen, there should not be this, there should not be that. For example, if you are opening a factory and coming to whom you know in the international market, even if you know why they should trust you, why they should give you the opportunity to start, they are already having their own suppliers and their own chain. So that is why there are people who always behind every factory, and means we can say customer associates who are involved, who procure the orders, brings to the factories, get it processed, check the quality, advise on the documentation part, and manage the whole things. So that is how the basically marketing is. And it's a very easy thing. There is entire chain is very easy. Only it needs passion. If passion is there, everything is there. And if passion is not there, this is a very tough job. So that is all. Means it's very literally difficult to cover everything in 1 hour. I don't know, means I have not prepared anything at all for that, because I was aware that 1 hour will pass like anything. So almost 1 hour has passed. Now I will prefer to take your questions rather than keep on talking.
Thank you, sir, for your such a valuable expert lecture. And moreover, means your lecture was covering almost all aspects of fish processing sector, the total environment of fish processing sector, including supply chain, it's a processing, packaging, export. Means each and everything you have covered. Now I invite, I ask students to have, if they have any query or question, they can ask.
Yeah, I will love to. I will love to speak to students. I wanted to speak a lot. Means we can, if the time permits, I am
Sir,
available.
there is a question in the chat box. What is the future best technology to preserve meat, milk, and fish products?
What is the best technology to preserve?
Sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
What is the question you told?
So, what is the best
Yeah.
technology to preserve meat, milk, and fish products?
As I already mentioned, freezing is the best technology. So far, no other technology has come up. If at all, means if we have to preserve, first is chilling. If we are confident that we are consuming it in 72 hours or something like that, better to maintain as it is in the chilled environment. If we are going forward, we must freeze it as quickly as possible. Quick freezing is the only answer.
Sir, we have more questions in the chat box.
Yeah, please tell me.
So there is another question that as per Mr. Shivam Array, he is asking, as per export market, marine species are in great demand. What is the future of freshwater species in export market? So he is asking about future of freshwater fishes, basically.
Yeah, freshwater fishes, honestly speaking, actually see how the market moves. We Indians, Indian continent people, I will say rather, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indians, and people from surrounding areas are, are there all over the world. So when we are talking about fish, freshwater fish and all that, be sure that no other people are going to eat your fresh fish. Your people are only going to eat your fish. Whether you are exporting it to UK, that Bangladeshi guy or Bengali guy is going to eat that hilsa. British is not going to eat hilsa.
Yes, yes.
So we are exporting it to various markets, maybe Australia, England, and all that. But the fact remains that it is being consumed by our own people only.
Yes, yes.
For
Sir.
example, Doha, lot of workers, labor force is there, which is Indian or Indian continent people. So all low value fishes go to Doha for their consumption. There are common kitchens where it is being made in bulk and given to them. So freshwater fishes have also a lot of demand, and demand is going to remain. And furthermore, there is plenty of scope in the domestic market. Domestic market is still untapped. I tried 2-3 times, but not successful for the reason that I couldn't focus on that. It is not that the market was bad, but I couldn't give my 100% to that market and not being able to develop. There is a huge potential. If we go in the literal terms, means it is of course little other way around, कि वो पकौड़े तलो वाली जो फार्मूला है, पकौड़े तलो जो our politicians say, so that has got a plenty of scope. There is a lot of wine consumption, liquor consumption there. Wherever there is a liquor consumption, the fish is there, side by side. The only thing is that we have to make it reach at reasonable price in the proper way. And moreover, this is the stage where we need to teach them. They don't know. They still their knowledge is zero. We need to teach them that this is the product fit for you, just taste it. Like the Britishers taught us tea. Britishers told us what is tea, and now we are following. Similarly, this food, we have to teach them People don't know anything. Nothing people know.
Sir, there is another question. Ms. Shubpreet Kaur is asking, sir, can we get any subsidy from government for startup of your business? I think subsidy is there,
If
but
you are if you are going for manufacturing, matlab producing, if you are putting a factory, then you are getting subsidy. That is, previously it used to be 50 lakhs rupees from Ministry of Food Processing and also from the MPDA. But there is a clause that you can take only one subsidy, either from here or from there. So all that technicalities are there, but fact remains that you should have enough funds with you. But furthermore, I will say that straight away entering into the factory, putting a factory is not advisable. One must have at least 3 years, at least 3 years working experience first. Then one may start the work. If the fund permits, they can hire the factory on lease and can start their business. I can support. And then once they are successful in that, then it is advisable to go for construction of a factory and then to start in their own factory.
sir, there is another question. Question is from Mr. Jay Bansal. He is asking, what will be the best technology for small processing shops, as nobody can done quick freezing in small sector, means processing at small level.
Small, see, IQF machine as such, what I said, it's a small only. If you buy 250 kg per hour, the machine runs hardly, say, around 15 hours practically. So it is going to produce hardly 4 tons a day. You can start whenever you need it. You don't want, you don't want. And when you are having a daily output of 3-4 tons or less, you can have a cold storage of, say, 50 tons. And another area of, say, around minimum area, 1 room and all, for taking out the product and putting in and all that. So means that can be the minimum project. One small IQF, one very small cold storage, and one surrounding area for handling the product and all that. That can be the mini project. And you can it is not necessary to operate the IQF machine entire 30 days or 365 days. You can operate whenever you are interested. Further, that IQF can be used for vegetables as well, side by side. You can use that for green peas, you can use for maize, you can use for other products when the fish business is not there. Somebody wants to go enter into the agri products as such altogether, can have one IQF machine and can process whatever the products they want. They can freeze the product and they can carry it as and when the need is there from their supply chain. So that is.
There is another question from Ms. Soumya Mehta. She is asking, what point should we have in mind before establishing our own business? And another question is also related with this question. This question is asking by Shubhadeep Mandal. He is asking, sir, how you start up this business? So basically, before starting any business or before entering in any business, what point he or she must consider?
First thing is that we need to see the resources, budget. Like we enter into the shop, we see our pocket first, that what is our budget. So based on, then they can approach the people like me or you and can discuss. Based on that, they can plan how to go. If means because it is a very costly affair. One export container is costing around 60-70 lakhs to 1 crore, 2 crore rupees. And every day, if we are having a small factory also, we are almost processing one container in 2 days. Means you are producing 15 containers in 30 days. For producing 15 containers, you need 15 crores, roughly. And with regard to Europe business, there is the payment 90 days terms. They will pay after 90 days or 60 days. So once your container is shipped, it is on board the vessel, then 90 days start, not from the factory. So that much circulation funds you should have. If it is China or other countries, the money comes in a month or so. The fishermen also, in some variety, they give you credit for 15 days, 30 days. In the other variety, they need immediate payment. So means it is a very complex thing and a lot of money is involved into it. So initially, at the beginning of the business, even no banker supports that way. Even if you are owning your factory, they are not giving even liquid funds to operate. They will give, but that will be just pocket money. So what happens if somebody wants to do business with the money like 5 crores or 3 crores? He has to, the best advised is that he has to hire the factory, either the whole factory, a small factory, or in share, and then start processing. Keep the cash in your hand. Whenever you feel I am start losing the thing, losing the mood, you can get out of it. If you are performing into it, if you are enjoying that, slowly you can construct your own factory and carry on with the business. It is a, I will say it is a 10 years plan, not even 5-year plan. If you are powerful, successful, having resources, you will reach to the destination in 10 years. You will be having a nice factory with nice markets, with the nice products after 10 years.
Sir, there is another question
Not
from
immediately.
yes, sir. So, there is another question from Miss Akanksha Gautam. She is asking, sir, is there any future of trout in export market? If yes, then what should be the main target countries?
Trout is a very attractive fish, and very costly and in demand. But the problem remains, trout is, trout, it is coming from cold water. Cold water is in extreme north. So there the supply chain system becomes a problem. We are not able to put a factory out there, because if we are going to put factory, we don't have the other products. Factory needs lot of material. Even if 5 tons a day, for break even, at least the factory should have a 10 tons business per day. So even if we consider, we dilute down to 5 tons, I don't think 365 days or even 180 days we are going to have 5 tons trout a day. And
Yes.
up till we are not having that much volume, we are not going to, it will not be feasible. Only thing it is possible is that it can be exported in the chilled form from Delhi airport. If somebody is able to make the rest of the chain, then it may be possible to. But the chain is very important, because so many times customers are approaching, but we are not able to make it reach. Then everything, whole exercise goes into vain. So the channel we have to improve first.
Yes, sir. Availability of raw material is major, you can say, a bottleneck.
Even see, for example, simple thing is that honeybee makes the nest. where she founds in the surroundings flowers are there.
Sure. Yes, yes.
First, they locate the flowers. And once the flowers in the surroundings are there, they will make the nest. So we must see the raw material, feasibility, and then we should enter into the cost factors. But my first request is, of course, lot of interest has come up for entrepreneurship. But my advice is that before entering into it, consult the right man and do the job. First, do the job anywhere for 2-3 years in order to understand the ins and outs, and then start on leasing basis, and then only you enter, because this is a business where Tata's came and gone. Hindustan Lever came and gone. I came in Tata's once upon a time. And Tata's were there from 70s and all that. But they couldn't survive because it needs immediate decision, quick decision making. Because see, it is a perishable item. It will not wait for the board member to decide. It needs immediate decision making, whether you are at purchase or you are at sale or anywhere. Your decision maker must be always handy. That is number one. Even if you are a factory owner, the factory owners who are doing 200, 300 crore turnover, getting up early morning 6 o'clock and sleeping at 12 in the night, because they have to be in touch with all the lending centers of India as well as all the markets of the world. So the life is tough, but it gives global exposure if we are decent. This is the field where you are able to play with the money. Once you are in this field, you would not like any other field, because the cash flow which you will see into this business is nowhere. But we have to be very decent with that money, because little bit here and there, I have already told, Tata's have gone and Hindustan Lever came in front of me only. They established the factory 25 kilometers away from this place. There was a guy, Mr. Hegde Katte, Mangalore Fishery College guy, followed by IIM Ahmedabad. He was the first manager. I want to become number one, this and that. And they are nowhere now. So the lesson it gives is that, means it's a tough job and the decision making must be quick and immediate. It should not be, if you are enjoying somewhere in Netherlands and here the things are happening, you have to answer. You cannot enjoy.
Similar kind of questions has been asked by various students. I think they have already got their answer. I will just take their names. Gurleen Kaur, Rajni Rai, Abdullah, Gurpreet. So they have asked similar kind of question, except one fellow has asked, what is the scope of this fish processing in abroad? I think, I don't know whether he want to join as a worker or an employee.
Fish processing, abroad. Fish processing abroad. Fish processing abroad. Fish processing abroad. See, fish processing abroad, there is a lot of scope, but nowadays I wouldn't advise that. And even at my time, I have not taken that opportunity. See, big countries, they are not going to take you. Why they will take? And if they will take, they will not take at genuine positions. So African countries are there which are entertaining to people like you and me, means our students. But previously they were used to pay better than Indian market. Now India is paying equally or better than that, and the living conditions are far, far, far better than in African countries. So there is no point in going abroad. Abroad, if somebody is having a passion of abroad, I will tell you that you will be tired of going abroad once you are in this field, and you pass 3-4 years, 5 years, and you are entering into the marketing and all that. You will be tired. You will be forced by your company to go, and you will deny that I don't want to go. So you can go, you will be getting lot of opportunity to go abroad,